Simelane has denied benefiting inappropriately from Gundo Wealth Solutions.
Did I have an improper relationship with the contractor appointed by the municipality which I served as a mayor? And secondly, did I receive financial benefits from the same contractor? I did not have any improper relationship with the contractor appointed by the municipality. Mayors are never involved, or councillors are never involved in procurement. So there is no money that was paid by Polokwane municipality to Gundo.
Simelane said she instituted the withdrawal of municipal funds from the mutual bank well ahead of a directive from Treasury to do so.
Members, it's a matter of public record again that Polokwane municipality invested money in VBS in my tenure as an executive mayor. But what is not amplified is that on the advice from technical expertise within the municipality, myself as a mayor instituted the withdrawal of Polokwane investment from VBS. My attitude at the time was that if there was anything improper with regards to municipality funds, it must be stopped forthwith. It is important to note that the withdrawal took place 2 months even before the letter from National Treasury ordered all municipalities who were investing in VBS to withdraw their investment.
The Justice Minister reiterated that she repaid the loan she got from Gundo.
The capital advance was repaid as provided for in the loan agreement by 3 installments. And the installments were paid from the FNB business account of T5 and Sylvanas events to Gundo Wealth Netbank account on the following dates. The 9th of October 2020, the 12th of November 2020, and the 7th of January 2021, totaling around 849,000, with an interest calculated at about 11.2% or so at the time. So in excess of about 250 was the interest that was paid to Gundo.
Well, to discuss this, we're joined now by Zikhona Ndlebe, research lead at Judges Matter. Zikhona, very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. Just what your takeaways from the whole session that that went on for about 3 or so hours.
Well, you're correct. The session this morning went on for quite a few hours, and we are extremely disappointed that the minister appeared before the portfolio committee, and she provided a presentation which was welcomed by the committee. But in addition to that presentation, she did not provide any documentary proof which would have expected that she would provide, such as the loan agreement and the bank statements proving when and how the loan was paid to her, and the 3 repayments that were made by her in respect of the loan. So those documentation, which we think are very important, were not provided to the committee, and that's concerning. Well,
everyone seemed to be grappling about how to treat that particular issue, to the extent even that the committee chairperson sought the advice, legal advice, on how to deal with that matter, especially after members of the committee actually requested that she provides them with that evidence.
So you're correct, there's a grappling on how to deal with it. But the reality is that the minister had about 2 weeks to prepare for her presentation to the Justice Committee, and she said herself that she would not appear before the committee and tell them what she's told them today without the proof. So the real question is then, why not just provide those documents along with the presentation that she prepared for the committee. It would have made matters so much easier if she had done that, but she has opened herself to providing those documents, and we are trusting that the committee will take her up on it and request those documents. And she's also said that she's willing to still be questioned or to come before the committee again, basically, to provide more clarity if that is necessary. So we think that while looking at the way things are currently, we think that will be necessary. And the MPs from the beginning, they've asked for those documents because it was an expectation. It's been 2 weeks. She had a lot of time to prepare.
But is documentary evidence the real or big issue, for now at least? Though, and I'm asking this on the back of several questions that were posed by various MPs, especially those outside of her party, the African National Congress. I want to take a listen to what Glynis Breitenbach of the Democratic Alliance had to say, which, as far as I could see or I could hear, was one of the key questions that the MPs or members of that committee wanted to deal with, even without the documentary proof that you're saying that session was poorer without. Let's take a listen.
It's not true that the Justice Minister does not have influence over the NPA, even if it's a very subtle influence. Of course you do. And how you choose to exercise it is, of course, up to the Justice Minister. And I've not got any reason to suggest that you've done anything untoward in that regard, and I'm not suggesting it. But perceptions, Minister, are everything. And the public and myself see the justice system as a pyramid. And there's the police, and there's the NPA, and there's the Department of Justice, and then there's you. And you sit at the top of that pyramid. And that's inescapable. It's an ineluctable conclusion that you cannot sit on top of the pyramid while a matter such as this is being investigated. Because it is being investigated. As we read this morning in the papers, the Hawks have executed search and seizure warrants in Polokwane on the office that you occupied. And they're clearly investigating, amongst other things, this transaction.
Isn't that one of the key issues, though? With or without the documentary evidence that everyone was asking for, including you?
It's definitely quite a big issue as well, in addition to the documentary evidence. And as correctly pointed out by MP Glynis Breitenbach, that the Justice Minister sits on top of the pyramid. So that means that she has a lot of influence. And there was also a discussion around the fact that she might not, she's undertaken not to influence the proceedings of the NPA, and she has made that undertaking out of her own accord. But the reality is that there will be, or there might be, a perception of conflict of interest. Right? And that is prohibited in terms of the Constitution. If you look at the section that was referred to by Member of Parliament, Newzroom Afrika, Section 96, subsection 2 of the Constitution, which says that members of the Cabinet must stray away from situations that might create perceptions of conflict of interest. And that is also a big issue in addition to the bank statements of the documentary proof that was not provided to Parliament today. So the bottom line is that the minister does sit on top of the pyramid when it comes to the justice system.
Conflict of interest, real or perceived. Now, there's another issue linked to this, which again speaks to the issue of conflict of interest, whether it's real or perceived, and that is that when it was on the same day that she received a report of the municipality's relations with VBS, that she then paid the loan.
Yes, that is correct. And that's another question that was raised by the members of Parliament as to why did she wait for years to pay back the loan that she had taken? And why did she pay back the first installment on the same day that she received the report. And similar with other questions that were raised by members of parliament, there was no direct response or answer to that question from the minister. So it's still questionable as to why the first installment was paid back on the same day, and there's no clarity. So it goes back to the issue of perceived or actual conflict of interest that might be created by the minister's conduct.
Now, with regard to things like declarations, whether it's declaring companies you own or that you are part of, or whether it's how things normally or are supposed to work, whether it's at local government, where you are a mayor, or at national government level where you are a minister. She then, at various times during her testimony, alluded to those and how they work, and how there is no possibility that she could have done some wrong, whether it was while she was a mayor or now as a minister. But given what we know, given what has come out of your state capture inquiry, given some of the evidence, that we've seen in various other cases, would that really protect her? Would that speak on her behalf? Would that necessarily absolve her? In other words, her ability to demonstrate that in terms of the law, there is no way she could do what people may think she could do or has done?
The question that you're asking, I think it's quite similar to what the minister said, which is that she would not go before the portfolio committee and make statements or give a presentation, which was not correct. Basically, that is saying that the committee must take her word for everything that she's saying without any proof or documents to prove what she's saying, evidence. So that's not how it works. So the minister needs to provide, first of all, documentary proof, and the reality is that there will be a perception of conflict of interest. And with regards to declarations that you've mentioned, she was questioned on this, and she did not state that she declared the loan, but she said that she was required, when she took up office as the minister, to make declarations. But from what she said today, it is not evident that she did make a declaration in respect of the loan that she received. So that is also problematic. And that's the reality, that there's a problem. There's a problem when it comes to the fact that she's not provided evidence. She's given a presentation, and you said inquiry, but it was in actual fact a presentation to Parliament. But there is nothing to back up the presentation that she's given.
And there could well be an inquiry, of course, later on. Zikhona Ndlebe, we haven't had the last word on this matter. It's probably only the beginning, and by the minister's own admission, there is, albeit sadly, there is information that she didn't put before the committee that she still has, that she hopes will clear her. We will see, of course, when the president hopefully makes public everything that she would have told him. But that's why we're going to leave it for now with Zikhona Ndlebe, research lead at Judges Matter. Still to come, we get a reaction from VBS Minority